Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from JessCrafts.com, and today I'm here with some Valentine treat boxes. This video is sponsored by Paper Mart, and I will be using some products available at the Paper Mart website to create these little Valentine treat boxes. The treat boxes themselves are available at Paper Mart as well, and they have a large variety of treat boxes. I decided to work with the plastic hearts because I thought that I could do a lot of fun decorating on top of them. I knew that I could stamp on them, use some washi tape on them, and write on them with chalk markers. So I'll be showing you a whole variety of ways to use them today, but they also have a lot of paper boxes, which are great. And I picked up a number of other supplies from Paper Mart so that I could use them in decorating the boxes, including some gems to add as sort of like shaker material inside the boxes, these shiny heart garlands to add a little bit of filler, and the same thing with the ribbon, although I think it would look really pretty glued to the side of the boxes as well. And some washi tape to decorate the top of the boxes, but I'm also going to be showing you how you can use washi tape to create your own paper. Because this is metallic washi tape, it's fun to be able to use it in some different ways because it is so unique. And also these chalk ink markers, because you can write on plastic with them. They are wet erase. So for my first box, I wanted to use some of my traditional card making supplies, since that's what I do most often, and combine those card making tools and techniques onto these plastic boxes. So I think that even if you didn't want to do the treat boxes in the end, you could pick up some of these great supplies and make some cards similarly. So I'm going to be doing white heat embossing for the sentiment because I'm going to be using black, and that's the best way to get a clear readable sentiment on black. So I'm stamping the Wishing You and Valentine's Day from the Happy Everything stamp set from Newton's Nook Designs. That might not be the right name, but I'll make sure that I link it in the video description, as well as all the products from Paper Mart and the names of them. So I am going to white heat emboss it. I put the Hero Arts white powder on top, and then I'm taking my heat gun and melting the powder. I recommend holding your paper off of your mat when you're doing heat embossing. It allows the heat to pass through, and there's slightly less warping. Since I only stamped Wishing You and Valentine's Day, I still need the Happy, and so for that I decided to use a die cut. I wanted it to just be the sentiment to kind of be the star of the show, and so by combining the fun technique of the heat embossing with the die cutting, I thought it would create a nice focal point. So in order to make this die a little bit more substantial, I cut it out 3 times out of black cardstock, and I'm going to be gluing all 3 layers together so that it just winds up being a little bit thicker. You could try cutting it out of foam or a slightly thicker cardstock, and then you wouldn't have to glue all the layers together. When gluing the layers together, you can use something like stick-it adhesive, but I find that to be a little bit pricier, and I prefer just to use my multimedia mat from Ranger. It's a simple liquid glue, and it's really strong. I'll be using it throughout the video, and I recommend it because it dries clear and matte. Some other glues are really shiny when they dry, and so you can still see them if they leak out the edges, but multimedia matte is perfect. So I'll line up all those dies. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room too, so if they're not perfectly lined up, you can kind of move them around before it dries. And then I want to cut these strips of black cardstock into banners. And I do that simply by cutting down the center and then cutting in from the sides to create the triangle shape. I find that easier than to try to start from the sides. So cut down the center and then towards that cut that you just made to create those little banner edges. And so I have my sentiment ready, and I want to decorate the box. I picked out these 2 metallic washi tapes from Paper Mart. These are a little bit more unique than things I found in the store, and I also found that they were surprisingly heavy for washi tape. They aren't as thin and flimsy as some other washi tapes, and I think that's because of the metallic coating on top of them, and I was pleasantly surprised with how well they stuck, as well as the ability to glue on top of them. Because they are metallic, sometimes when something's a little bit slick or shiny like that, it can be a little bit tougher to glue on. However, I found that multimedia matte worked fine for gluing it on. And so the paper, even though it is the paper tape, the washi tape, even though it's a little bit thicker, it still tears really easily. and I'm choosing to leave torn edges, make that intentional. So if you don't like the look of torn edges and you want it to be a little bit smoothed off, I recommend just cutting it with a scissor instead. But to keep it fun and simple, I'm going to just use the torn edges. And I'm not going to cover the top completely because, again, I want that sort of fun, whimsical look. So instead, I'll just tear strips of tape off in various sizes, starting in the middle where it's the longest and then making it progressively thinner and using a red and gold pattern down the edge. If you find that your piece of tape is seeming a little bit long, you can always peel it back off too and then re-tear it. One of the nice things about washi tape is a great price. These were less than $2 and you're going to have it forever because there's just so much on the tape. So you can, if a piece didn't turn out the way you wanted or tore a little bit funny, don't worry about just tearing off another piece. I also think it would be fun to make matching cards with the same sort of design. So if you were to create this box for someone, you wanted a card to go with it, you could do the same sort of tape tearing technique across a card base as well. And here again, I'm going to use that multi-medium mat from Ranger to glue on these little pieces. And I find that it sticks even on the larger elements. That glue is really, really strong. And even though it leaked out a little bit around the happy, it will dry clear and you won't notice it. And you can see all that wonderful shine that it comes from those metallic papers. I don't know why I keep calling it paper when it's definitely tape. So the next thing I wanted to show you was the chalk markers. Chalk markers are meant to work on non-porous surfaces, so they're perfect for plastic, and I thought that they would look great on these boxes, and you could draw or doodle whatever you want. I'm not the best artist, so I wanted to keep it simple. So I just wrote out the word love in some script, but if you don't like your handwriting, you could definitely just draw a heart in the center, and then use the marker to create lines coming out from the sides. And then I just added little dot doodles. So as you can see, you don't have to be a great artist to make something fun like this. But what I think is cool is it is wet erase. So if the design is not turning out in a way that you like, you wrote the love and it didn't look right, you can just take a wet cloth, wipe it away, and start again. It's just water to erase it. And so that also means that your recipient, if they chose to reuse this box but they didn't want to have the decoration on it still because they're going to keep it all year long or something like that, they could also wet erase. And I did want to show you what it looks like with some black cardstock underneath so you can see that white a little bit more. So that's just a quick, easy, fun way to decorate. The next thing that I wanted to show you was a little gift box that I would make for a crafty friend. So the other two ideas are just great general decoration, but now I'm going to kind of show you a way of filling one of the boxes. So I had thought about putting this ribbon inside of the box, this lace ribbon, and that might seem a little bit crazy because, you know, the filler paper or tissue paper, really cheap, and so if they throw it away, no big deal. But I thought, well, you know, if it's for a crafty friend, they're not going to throw away the filler, especially if I use a pretty lace tape or lace ribbon like this. They're going to keep that lace ribbon and use it on a project, so the decoration and the filler actually becomes part of the gift. And so I'm going to create or treat this box kind of like I would a shaker card, where, you know, the shaker card you might put sequins and gems and pretty things inside so that it looks decorated and looks nice. But then when your crafty friend receives it, they're going to be able to pull out all of these little goodies and that be part of the present for them. So I filled it up with the lace ribbon, and I decided to add a little bit of adhesive to the bottom so that the lace ribbon would stick a little better. I found that in the end that didn't work as well as I thought it would. The lace ribbon doesn't adhere as well to the glue dots, but it doesn't really matter because, again, you're just trying to fill up the base, and you can get as much in there as you like for how full you want it to be. And then I took a little stamp set and I laid it on top of the lace as the sort of main part of the gift. But I thought it would be fun if some of the little heart gems were sticking to the stamp set. but I still wanted them to be able to pull the stamp set and gems apart. So that's where those removable glue dots come in. The removable glue dots are great for sticking a gift card to the inside of a card or inside of a project. Like I think gift cards, I know that a gift card would fit nicely in here. And you could do the same thing. If you didn't want to give this to a crafty friend, you could just put a gift card instead and use a cheaper filler. But you can take that removable glue dot and adhere some gems onto your gift card, and they can pull it right off, and the glue will come right off as well. The next idea I wanted to show you was stamping on top of these cases. So in order to stamp on plastic, you need an ink specially designed for that. Most inks are made to sink into paper, but Staz On Ink works on non-porous surfaces. So I'm going to be stamping with Staz On. Staz On does come in different colors. I happen to only have black, so I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to stamp a solid stamp. So this is a Fawn stamp set. I think it's called You're a Hoot, but again, I'll list everything in the video description below. But I wanted to show you that if you're stamping with Staz On, and that first owl, he didn't turn out perfect. So I just took a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and I was able to wipe it away and start again. Just like with the wet erase markers, these are very forgiving. The same thing with the washi tape. If it didn't turn out the way you want it, you can pull it up and redecorate it. So I think that these are great beginner crafts, or crafts that you could do with kids because they are so forgiving. But of course, when you're working with Staz On and alcohol, with children, you'd want to be careful and make sure there was adult supervision. But here I am going to continue to stamp. I'm using clear stamp blocks, and you might think it's kind of odd that I have that glue dot dispenser underneath, but it's just providing a little bit of stability. It stamps better if there's a solid surface underneath. So just find whatever you happen to have that is about the same thickness and a little bit smaller than the case, so that you can stamp with a little bit more pressure. And I think you can kind of find a lot of things around your desk that will do that. But you're just going to stamp straight up and down with the Staz On. You don't want it to slide around too much so that you get a better impression. But of course, always could start again. So for my final idea, I'm going to show you how you could use that washi tape in a little bit of a different way. I thought that those washi tapes were really pretty, but I wanted to be able to die cut from the washi tape, which is a little bit hard because it's kind of thin. You can only cut something so thick with the plain washi tape. So my idea is to add it to a piece of cardstock and basically create your own pattern paper. I've done this before with washi tape, and it works with a whole variety of them. Certain washi tapes tend to work a little bit better with it. It's great with solid washi tapes. It makes a solid cardstock. But these shiny tapes are even better because now you can die cut from a shiny paper without trying to purchase that specialty paper. And you kind of got a 2-for-1 with your washi tape. I personally am a big fan of coming up with different ways to use what I have, especially with things like washi tape where you get so much on a roll, you kind of have to have some alternate ideas. So I have a variety of dies. There's a flower shape, hearts, a smile sentiment, whatever you have. You can use to decorate it because it's just trying to create like a pretty little scene. You don't have to have any sort of specific dies for it. But hearts are obviously great for a Valentine's Day project. I wanted to keep it a little bit less lovey-dovey on some of these because I figure that a lot of these will go to like friends and coworkers. So I don't want everything to be like true love and love always and whatever. So I thought the smile was great here. And I was able to die cut through the pattern paper, and now it looks like the shapes are die cut out of the washi. But of course, there is that cardstock underneath, so they're not adhesive anymore. Technically, you could pull the washi tape up off the cardstock, but now that it's been pressed down with your die cut machine, there's a better chance that that washi tape is going to pull up the cardstock, and so I think it is just way easier to add some extra glue to the back. I have seen people who then pull the washi tape up off the backer paper and then just use it as, like a sticker, but I just find it easier to add adhesive. And so I'm going to glue on these elements in a little arrangement. I'm not going to use all of them. What's nice is that you can create one larger piece of this gold paper with your washi tape and create a bunch of elements to use throughout a few boxes. Because like I said, these boxes do come in a pack of 12, so you'll have a whole bunch to experiment and play with. And I wanted to also point out that there was some washi tape along the edge of one of my boxes, and I didn't want to show you all the steps. Like I said, this video is quite long with all these different ideas, but basically I just took the washi tape and ran it all along the edge. When you're using the washi tape on these, you will want to make sure that you press it down pretty firmly. Don't press too firmly because these plastic boxes are rigid plastic and you don't want to break your box by applying too much pressure. But you really want to make sure that those edges stick so they don't peel apart on your recipient when they receive these. I also think these might be a little bit tricky to mail because, again, they're the hard plastic boxes, and Paper Mart also has some soft plastic boxes that aren't so rigid, and you could use all these same ideas on those soft plastic boxes. So if you want to mail these or you want to give them to kids, I might recommend the soft plastic boxes instead for Paper Mart. So now I have a little design there, and that is it for my last box. And I wanted to talk about ways to fill the box's little decorations. So you might remember that shiny garland from the beginning. And what I did was I just sort of scrunched it up, and I'm using that to help fill the boxes because it just adds a little bit of shine, a little bit of interest behind some of the decoration. However, some of the boxes, I actually wanted it to be more of like a solid surface behind it, so the easiest way to get that look was to use some tissue paper. I believe Paper Mart also sells tissue paper in a variety of colors, so when you're ordering your supplies, you could pick that up as well if you don't happen to have any. And black might seem a little odd for Valentine's Day, but I really think it helps the metallic colors to pop off. So you'll take a sheet of tissue paper, put your little bits of chocolate or whatever sort of present, like I said, earrings, gift cards, candy, all kinds of fun little stuff will fit inside there. And scrunch up your paper and then fit it inside your box. So that is it for all of my different ideas, but I did want to incorporate a little bit of a fun giveaway for you guys. So I took some of the gold and red washi tape, and I'm going to mail a sampler to 2 commenters. So it's just a little bit of the washi tape. You can peel it off and make some projects with it. But I want to encourage you to check out the Paper Mart website. So go head over to Paper Mart, leave me a comment with which Valentine's product you like best, and I'll choose 2 winners from the comments to send that little bit of washi tape to so you can give it a try. I wanted to say thank you for watching. That's it for my video today. I will leave links to all the products and to Paper Mart in the video description below. As I said before, this is a sponsored video. And if you like this video and these ideas, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more card making and gift giving ideas. Thanks for watching. Bye.